Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm taking a look at Doctor Who, Destiny of the Daleks, Tom Baker's story. So yeah, I mean my previous one was Remembrance of the Daleks, so yeah, I just thought, you know what, might as well do a review of an episode of my favourite Doctor and one of my favourite sort of monsters and or villains of Doctor Who, the Daleks, and Davros, of course. But yeah, so first of all, I'll go through the packaging. Cover is that you've got some villains, you've got some Daleks, you've got Davros, you've got Romana and the Doctor, PG, Tom Baker years 1974 and 1981, Doctor Who, the sort of 1996 TV movie one, Destiny of the Daleks, BBC, DVD, and some sort of information here on the spine, 2 Entertainment, BBC, Destiny of the Daleks, Tom Baker, creepily, Doctor Who, and then the stuff there. You got the strip of, and a row of, images and that, screenshots of different things from the episode. You've got Doctor Who, you've got Destiny of the Daleks by Terry Nation, the last story that Terry Nation did, the bio and special features and the running time and all that. Then on the front, in the words, on the inside you've got the disc and the writer's notes and stuff, so yeah. Onto my thoughts of Destiny of the Daleks. I think it's a decent story. I don't know, it's not perfect by any means, but it doesn't have to be, I guess. I'd prefer it if it was, because it obviously is a Dalek story, so actually retract the previous statement. I kind of expect better from it, but I don't know, like, I guess every episode with the Daleks can't be a hit, you know? And, you know, just statistically speaking, it's obviously eventually there gonna be some misses, and even though I don't think this is the best Dalek Davros story, someone else might, and you know, well, more power to you if you do love this story. I do like the story, I just don't love the story. It's just that, much like Jon Pertwee, the predecessor to Tom Baker, Jon Pertwee had Death of the Daleks, which has a similar sort of problem as this story does, which is that it is sat between two better Dalek and or Davros stories, and or just Dalek stories generally, in my opinion anyway. With Death of the Daleks, you've got Day of the Daleks, I think it is before Death of the Daleks, and then after that you've got Planet of the Daleks, whereas here you've got, prior to this one, you've got Genesis of the Daleks, and then you've got Resurrection of the Daleks, so, you know. And in that respect, to compare it to Genesis of the Daleks, what had come before it, it does kind of feel like a bit of a sort of step down in quality. It does kind of feel like a bargain bin version of it, if anything. Like, you're retreading some similar stuff here and there. And I don't know, like, it's not completely bad thing, but because you got to think as well, like, Genesis Daleks was 4 years ago, prior to Destiny of the Daleks, so there may be people who watched Destiny of the Daleks who never even knew about Skaro and Davros and that, and also, even if you did know about that sort of stuff, you've got the Movellans to add to this story, which, yeah, they are quite unique, and I actually quite like them. They're not, you know, they're not the best thing ever, but they're decent for what they are, and it's a cool idea and a cool concept. Daleks being locked in this battle and this war and that, with this other logical sort of robotic, logical sort of race of sorts, and both their battle computers can't predict each other's, or can just logically predict each other's moves, so then there's a logical stalemate, to which that's why the Daleks are going back to Davros, spoiler alert. Tom Baker's captivating as always. I think he gives a stellar performance, and this is also the beginning of season 17. This is the first story in season 17, so it's a series opener, and I think it's quite clever to bring back the Daleks, I think, because, as I say, prior to this, it wasn't, it had been 4 years since they were last in it, I think. It was back in season 12, so it'd been quite a while, and I think they smashing through those doors as well was epic, to say the least. And then Romana 2 Romana, Mary Tam, behind the scenes didn't want to reprise a role as Romana, so they got a new actress. However, I do feel like it's a bit annoying that the whole regeneration, if you will, I say in inverted commas regeneration because it's kind of glossed over and skimmed over quite quickly, or her regeneration is off screen, as it were, which I don't particularly like because I think regeneration should be this sort of monumentous big sort of occasion. I do think, however, looking back on the Moffat era, it was really overused and overdone. However, obviously in the classic series, it literally is just each time the Doctor regenerates. But if you've got another Time Lord figure and or character, and if they do regenerate, surely we should see it because, again, we know how it happens, and also, yeah, and I just think it makes it more unified that they are of the same species, I think, and I like how Romana's costume mirrors the Doctor's, being just a sort of feminine version of the Doctor's costume, being in like this long pink coat, and with this white scarf. However, I do love the comedy of her just coming out with the Tom Baker get-up, and even her actually thinking about it, her whole sort of beginning section of just chopping and changing loads of different costumes and bodies. Well, okay, Tom didn't do the body switching thing, as it were, but definitely the costume thing. It almost mirrors his first sort of scenes, or early scenes of him trying on different costumes and that, which I quite like. Davros is okay here. He's not great. He's not the best. Person who plays Davros in this isn't the best. He gives probably his best tries his best, but it's okay. I mean, he's not Michael Wisher, and that was it. Michael Wisher who played Davros in Genesis of the Daleks. I can't remember, but whoever played Davros in Genesis of the Daleks is much better. Although Genesis of the Daleks is a lot longer story with it being 6 parts, so trying to watch it all in one sitting, it does sort of dither here and there. There is a bit of padding and a bit, well, not padding, but a bit of obviously running around-ish and that, and going back and forth. I actually find that happens more in this story, even though it's only a 4-part story, so, which is a bit ironic. I do like the fact that the Daleks have prisoners, and there's Dalek prison camps and that, and I don't know, it's like, comparing Skaro to how it was portrayed and that in Genesis, it seemed less hostile for some weird reason in this story, and that, and ironically, in contrast to Genesis of the Daleks, I know most people's criticism with that was that the Daleks were not in it enough, and that Davros is in it too much. I feel like the opposite here. I feel like the Daleks are in this story way too much, and Davros is barely in it, And I think Romana gives a stellar performance early on with some of the ways Lalla Ward, sort of reacts to the Daleks. Like, she's really genuinely, like, frightened of them. I get this sort of sense of her being genuinely frightened by them, like, screaming at them like, yeah, this is fine, or whatever, or, sort of thing, like, okay, can you just let me go now, sort of thing, because she's genuinely sort of scared of them, and that, which is really cool to see, and the pyrotechnics of them blowing up at the latter end is really cool, as well as the gun effect, I quite like. It's not quite, Remembrance of the Dalek special effect, but it suffices, it's good. As I say, it's a decent story, it's just not phenomenal, which is a shame, because when you have an established baddie or character in a TV show, regardless of whether it's Doctor Who or if it's Star Wars or, whatever the show is, you kind of expect it to be better, because the writers will know that these characters are important to the audience and that, and I just feel like this one doesn't quite hit the mark for me, but by all means it's not the worst story ever, Doctor Who story ever. It's just, if I'm holding Dalek and Davros stories to a higher standard, because they've got, the golden oldies, as it were, here in this story, then obviously I kind of have to say that it's, as I say, it's a par, and as I say, the Daleks are just so intrinsic, as is Davros, to the Doctor, who the Doctor's mythology and lore and the DNA of the show. So overall, I'd give Destiny of the Daleks a 7 out of 10. It's not awful, it's not brilliant though, like some of the Dalek and Davros stories, but it's decent. It's a decent way to open a series as well. It's fun. I mean, K9's in it, and I say that in inverted commas, he gets laryngitis, I think it was, at the beginning. But what's even funnier is that Tom's Doctor even makes a comment about, like, you know, why would a robot dog even need laryngitis, or get, how would you get laryngitis? What's the point? Which I thought was a bit funny. The practical effect of the Mavellan ship I quite like as well, like that sort of the top bit, not so much the CGI or the sort of CSO sort of blue screen thing that looked a bit pants, but of it digging. I like the sequence of it digging for some weird reason, as well as it when it actually lands and it's actually a set, as it were. I like that, and that it feels, as I say, like, this episode feels like if Genesis is the main course, this feels like the leftovers and or sort of stuff that you've put in a doggy bag, as it were, you know, that you've put in the fridge and then you've gone, and it's nice, but it's just not as nice as the main course was when you originally ate it, you know, which is kind of the problem, I guess, of retreading over, you know, stuff that happened in the past, you know, with, as I say, the likes of, you know, Davros and that. But there is a reason as to why he's in the story, and it's a decent one. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. For Destiny of the Daleks. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.